Inside the Lawn Locker with Attitude, Part 3, and this is Kevin, the Kung Fu Kangaroo. And this is the hut. Now, as I recall it, we were about here at the end of the second movie, so let's go outside. Off we go, off we go, off we go. Because the thing is, it's not just my side of the hut, there's also the children's bunk room. So, let's toddle off along around to the bunk room. Now, as you can see, Warbles on a Lot has constructed a bit of a rare style of a door. It's got chainsaw milled planks on the outside of what used to be a fly screen door. But under the planks there's insulation. It's aluminium foil, and it's foam and it's aluminium foil, and it was originally a windscreen blanket for a car. But anyway, inside the children's bunk room we have a camping level double bunk, and originally when this was in the main part of the hut, Matthew had the top bunk and he had the pictures of the aeroplanes on the roof. So when I built the bunk room, Elizabeth said, I want the top bunk, and therefore Matthew gets the bottom bunk, and that's why he's got naked ladies on the wall near his bunk. So Elizabeth's bunk doesn't have naked ladies, she has teeny bopper rock stars, and you know, it's her version of teeny bopper porn, I guess, but you know, she was pretty happy with it. And this is my daughter's view from the pillow of her bed. And up here we have a light bulb which has a filament in it which is capable of starting the inverter for the hut's electrical system. This is kind of important because each kid needs to be able to get a light at night. That's in my opinion, right? And the theory is, if they want to wake up in the middle of the night and they need to have a light, they should be able to start their high intensity light bulb, and then if they really need a light for a long time, they can start this, which is one of those high efficiency neon lights, and that makes enough light for the whole bunk room if they're both reading or whatever. But if one of them wants to go to sleep, they've got their light, right? And my mother made that blanket for my daughter. And down here, as you can see, yeah, Matthew's got his naked ladies, and Elizabeth's told him in nail varnish what she thinks of him on that particular day, for whatever reason. This is the louvered outlet for the heat exchanger that's wrapped around the potbelly in my room. And it belts out hot air, and every 10 minutes all of the air in the bunk room is drawn in by the fan. So in winter I used to turn this computer cooling fan on. It's a 240 volt fan and it's wired into the system and the switches in my side of the bunk room, and I could suck all the air out of the bunk room every 10 minutes and put it through the heat exchanger and make sure that the kids had electrically powered, solar boosted, wood fired central heating. Not bad, eh? Considering that, you know, I'm the hillbilly hermit, and lots of people like to think that hillbillies are idiots. This is believe it or not, stored food. Because who knows when the supermarket is going to shut. So, if we continue around here, we have like pictures of the darling kidlets when they were in primary school and they lived in Glen Innes with me. And we have Matthew's naked ladies, because this was his part of the bunk room. And we have the garbage bin. We have Elizabeth's kite and Elizabeth's Year 12 photo. We have spare books. Now that's an interesting thing. My mother painted that on glass in, I think, 1917. Bit of a family heirloom. All sorts of other books and whatnot. And there we have the 1972 vintage flight simulator. Now what you've got is a plastic box with a printed cardboard instrument panel and a little plastic model plane, and a little plastic model plane slides down along a fishing line, and you've got a joystick. And in the earlier video you saw the children using my flight simulator, because you know, people who are into aeroplanes teach their kids to get into aeroplanes, as witnessed by the flying helmet and goggles. It's actually a bone dome liner from the 1950s vintage, early first generation jets, but the goggles, they're the ones that, yeah, you can just see the crack in them. They're the ones I was wearing when I crashed the ultralight and hit the fence post. And there I was, upside down, nothing on the clock but the maker's name, and I were flying backwards. But my son saw it. And there we have Daddy selling helicopter joyrides for Australia's first woman with a commercial helicopter licence, parking the Enstrom F-28C on the island in the duck pond at El Caballo Blanco, where there were dancing Spanish horses. And on the southwestern edge of Sydney in 1979. So that's inside the bunk room. I'm pretty sure I've shown all there is to see of it from the inside. Now let's see if I can get the rest of the hut in the next 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, the cute part about the bunk room, apart from the door, you know, with its fencing wire lock and rubber seal made out of motorcar tyre tubes, there's compound curves in corrugated iron, which I've never seen or heard of anybody else achieving. So yeah, I'm kind of a little bit pleased and proud of that aspect of the structure. This poly pipe comes down to the cascade drum. The cascade drum feeds the 5,500 litre capacity Chinese inflatable swimming pool in which I store my water. The cascade drum is also fed by the drinking water drum. The drinking water drum is fed by the guttering on the side of the hut, which is not overhung by trees, and therefore it's fit to drink. Whereas the stuff that goes straight to the cascade drum, it's bath water for a wattle tree. Yes, the window works, and yes, my son was inside the window looking out at me and he wanted to laugh at me, so he opened the window and he forgot the fact that the hinge point is about there. So the window rotated and hit him in the head, and he broke the bloody glass. Snicker, snicker, snark. It was really funny the day it happened. Here we have the guttering, and as you can see, I go in for grown triangulations. Right? They're just so much stronger than anything that you can manufacture with, you know, composite technology and crossing pieces of wood. Here's the back end of the bunk room. Look at that, see, I've still got a blackboard for the kids. Who knows, maybe I'm hoping for grandchildren. This is how the bunk room overhangs the back of the hut. There's the hot air run to the bunk room, and the insulated cold air run is underneath it. That's where the beer gets stored, directly underneath the PET bottle with a hot nail hole. So you fill that bottle with water, it drips on the beer, then you put Hessian bag over the beer, instantly you've got a condensation refrigerator. Here we have unfinished didgeridoos. Here we have a bamboo didgeridoo. A jig for holding a Dremel together with a drill grinding rig. And my grandfather's shooting box. A set of knives Matthew won in a raffle. Firefighting backpack built on to a Vietnam vintage day pack with jettisonable shoulder straps. Spare car seat. Bits of chainsaw milled timber. A collection of empty glass bottles with sealable lids in order to store wattle seeds if I have to live off wattle seed flour. Hand powered washing machine. This is interesting. It's a 12 volt electric powered outboard motor. And I got it at the dump, and the only thing that's wrong with it is it needs a new propeller, and I'm a propeller carver, so okay, I can fix that. There we have spare air cleaners from the car, because I know how to clean them, and every time I put a new one in, I keep the old one. The kitchen sink. The mirror for doing your hair at the kitchen sink. And I've got to point out here, I only wash my eating utensils when I'm about to use them. Alright? Most of the time, all of my plates, all of my pots, all of my pans, they live out here, because after I use them I put them on the ground and the possums come and lick them clean. And then they stay there and the rain falls on them, and when I'm ready to use them, I wash them. And that way I'm using absolutely clean cooking utensils. If I wash them with hot water, which I used to make in the hot water heater, right? If I make hot water and I wash up in the sink and I rinse in hot water and I put those cooking utensils over here in my grandfather's bookcase, which I used to use as a pantry, I wake up in the middle of the night, turn on a light and find cockroaches running all over them. So no, I don't do that anymore. Alright? I let the possums lick it clean and I wash it before I want to use it. Now, in the making of this hut, a yellow box rectangle with a dry stone wall under it, and the hut was placed on top of the rectangle. And I'm going to have to explain that in the next movie, because it's just kind of a bit too complicated to get through in 15 seconds. Ciao!